This is Kugan Cassius for IFL TV. We're in the Iron Gym here in Santa Monica. With me, I've got from Shear Sports, Ken Shear. How are you, Ken?
Good.
You well?
Oh yeah.
Obviously this video is going out to predominantly people in England, so for people that don't know who you are, Ken, why don't you just give us a little introduction?
Well, I'm president of Shear Sports, which is a boxing management company. Also own Iron Gym and here in Santa Monica, and Elite Boxing Performance Gym in Santa Monica. And you know, I'm just an entrepreneur that owns a lot of real estate. That decided that I had the ability and the freedom to do something that I'm passionate about, which is get involved in the boxing game.
How long have you been involved in the sport of boxing?
Well, I grew up around it because my grandfather trained and managed fighters for 40 years. So, you know, I was kind of a little boxing nerd when I was 5 years old, reading the ring record book and reading old ring magazines and being around old-time boxers, new-time boxers, going to Madison Square Garden. But as far as managing and being in the boxing management business, it's now just been about a year and a half.
It seems to be where we are in England that America's at the forefront of all things boxing. So, how difficult is it to make your name as a, being promoters, managers, and in this country?
Well, I think you need to have a passion for it. You better have a lot of money. You better have you have to have a certain street smarts. And I think a certain business acumen to be able to make it. Is it tough? Yeah. But you know, for me, as a person who's passionate of the game, and now also being a quick study, I see that there's a lot of opportunity out there, and boxing in the United States, frankly, is been somewhat soft as far as the popularity of it the last few years, but it seems to be emerging back. It's just like anything else, you know. Back when my grandfather was training fighters in the 40s, 50s, 60s, in Friday night fights, boxing was probably the biggest sport, and you know, Mike Tyson, the Ali years, and you know, people have been talking about the death of boxing, and I always point out about how huge boxing is around the rest of the world, and it's surprising. And you know, people thought the Ultimate Fighting was going to be the death of boxing, and I'm starting to see that even that's falling off. So it's not easy, but you know, frankly, I think that my mental state and the way I work and do things fits pretty nicely into the box, no pun intended. One
notable fighter that people in England would be aware of that you have is Johnny Quigley from Liverpool.
Right.
So, you know, how did that come about?
It came about, you know, I had a friend of mine who knew Johnny, and he knew that we were looking to look at different fighters, and you know, the potential for us to sign and manage and bring quality fighters along, because I've made a point that we really want to be very specific in the talent, and it's not just boxers who are physically gifted, but it's also boxers who we see have the character, because it's important. And that comes down to, I don't need to be in this business to put food on my table. So I guess I can be selective, and I have a really good team around me. And I made contact with Johnny. I brought him over here for a week, and he really wowed us. And he's an outstanding kid, as well as he's got very unique ability. And that's it. One thing has led to another. He says that he's, I don't seem like a manager. I seem like one of his mates, to use a frequent British phrase. and so that's where we are.
Your team consists of the former heavyweight Courage,
Right.
Shabalala.
Yeah.
Pronounce that
Shabalala,
right.
Yeah.
Rachel Charles and Lyle. I'm not aware of his surname.
Lyle Green, right.
Lyle Green. So you know, I was reading an article on the internet the other day of you guys being the next dream team of boxing. So.
Well, we're trying. I'm not one of these arrogant guys who knows that he's smarter than everybody. I don't know I'm smarter than everybody. I'm smarter than some, not as smart as others, but there's certain things I do know, and I'm fortunate to know what I know and know what I don't know. And I'm not going to be a guy who's going to sit here and jump up and down and say, I'm going to change boxing, but I feel that we have the ability and potential to do something new for the boxing game, at least from what I've been exposed to, that will be fresh and will be exciting. And it's sad because I've seen and experienced a number of athletes, boxers in particular, who have all the talent in the world, and they end up going to the scrap heap. And sometimes they're their own worst enemy, but a lot of times, it's good kids who don't know any better, and they get basically used and trashed and put on the scrap heap, and they never realize their potential because they're just not handled properly. Because it's I say that I'm not trying to build a business, I'm trying to build a family. So if you want to build a family, you have to be intimately involved in these boxers' lives and understand that you're taking these young kids, and what you do with them over the 7 to 10 years or less or more of their life during this part of their life is going to shape them for their eternity. So I take that very serious. I like to go to bed at night knowing I've done the right thing, and everyone says, I hear the same theme from people. They say, don't fall in love with your boxers. And I said this to people before. I said, it's okay, I can fall in love with them, but I love my kids. I also know when they need to go to bed without their food, or I need to take away their favorite toy. And at some point, I'll also know when maybe I need to throw them out of the house. And so I kind of look at it that way. There's got to be a mutual respect, and if I allow myself to fall in love with a boxer and just let him start to take advantage of the situation, I'm not doing him any good, because at the end of the day I'm probably ruining him. It's like what they say with dogs, the worst thing you can do is not discipline a dog. It's the worst thing, because they really need discipline. You don't discipline them, what do? They're tearing your house up, they're crapping all over the place, and you end up sending it to the dog pound. So that's kind of, that's part of my philosophy and how I look at, what I'm trying to build.
All right. Well, listen, Ken, thank you very much for talking to iFL TV. I'm here for another week, so get a chance to catch up with you again. We will, and maybe go into a bit more depth about sheer sports. So,
okay, perfect.
Thank you for your time.
Thanp you.
And like I said, we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Kugan Cassius here with Ken Shear for iFL TV. Thank you very much.